Good morning, folks. In this video I'm just going to do a quick walkabout and say something about all the new things that are developing. I like to keep the viewers updated and of course to have a vlog for myself of what happens from day to day, because at this time of year things are happening quite quickly and some things exciting. Here's the grapevine. You can see how quickly that grows back. I have a use for that. I'm going to cut out some of those canes in a soon coming video. We're going to do something with them. I think the Beaver Lodge slicer has a tomato forming there now. I'm just waiting for that one and another variety to have obvious tomatoes on it, and then I'm going to do a update on the experiment with the different varieties of tomatoes. You see there's canes laying on the ground of this rose bush. I haven't done anything with this year. I have to cut out the older canes and cut off those that are laying on the ground. Nothing new there, everything looks to be growing well. This is another thing I want to deal with today. Get rid of the weeds and the low growing canes. This one back here is broken, so I have to take that out. As I was talking about this snowball bush, I said it was going to leave out again, and you see, so the leaves are starting again now, and it'll leave out fairly well, and then the leaves will die the same as the first lot. Keyed out this flower yesterday. This is Dame's Rocket. It's another edible wild plant. This is my only national pickling cucumber plant I have growing, and I hand pollinated this flower here, and the cucumber is growing, and there's a couple more on there now just coming out, so I will get national pickling cucumbers, but just off the one plant. Now I have more seeds, so I don't think I have to let any of these grow to full maturity. Peas grew quite tall this year before they started to flower, but now they're flowering all up on top, and they have quite a few flowers on them. So peas coming right along. This pink flower here, that's musk mallow. It's another edible wild plant. Of course, all of these little ball-shaped buddies, that's sweet clover. The flowers are really delicious. The rose bush in the center portion is out in full bloom. The small nasturtium, it's still staying small. This one is still coming along, looking like he's going to actually produce something. Back to letting plants grow up that you don't recognize. Now that it's got up a little bigger, do you recognize this one? 3 leaves like a clover, but they're heart-shaped. That's sorrel. Wood sorrel to be more precise. So they're quite fine. They can stay there. And I have some more growing there. And right there. And the peas along here, they're just starting to flower. the bulbs that I planted here, I found the packet. It is Latarius Blazing Star, and here's a picture of the packet of what they should look like. The asters are starting to get their bulbs. And that's what the small plant looks like from the combine. I have a few fall sunflowers that are growing really nicely. This nasturtium, that should grow really good. It's coming along wonderfully, and I was reading up on them, and they can self-seed, it was saying, so I should be able to plant the seeds in the fall and let them grow up next spring. Maybe I'll do that with half and half of what the seeds it produces. As you can see, I've got the chamomile here. I think the chamomile I got spread around because I pulled some out of that other bed, not knowing what they were, and threw them in the compost. The peas over here, they are flowering very well, and they're still a lot shorter, so that's the height I expected the other plants to be at when they started flowering. On the inside of the last section, the sunflowers are doing well, but I'll zoom in close to the ground and we'll walk along. This is why here we have to start cucumbers inside. We can't do the recommended plant 3 seeds in a hill, because as you can see, there's no cucumbers. I planted, and here's one. Two. It was a little bit ago I planted them there. 10 seeds along this whole stretch. 4. And of the national pickling seeds I planted, none of them came up. I was surprised in the beginner gardener bed that so many come up. Normally we have to plant them inside and put them out as transplants. When checking on these every day, that's the Goji chinensis out in full sun, and they seem to be doing very well. This is a female flower on the spaghetti squash. I pollinated this one this morning. And if we go to the next plant, I think I hand pollinated that one, but I'm not sure. And then there's another one right here. The lovage I put by the front fence, he's sitting there, he's doing okay. And then the St. John's wort over there. But I think the ones I put up here by the forsythia is showing signs of liking where I put them. Back up to the vegetable marrow. Somewhere here there's, don't know if I showed that there are female flowers coming out on them. So I'm pretty sure I will get a few vegetable marrow squash. The carrots that I reset don't seem to want to come up. I think I'm going to have to just do away with my seeds that I have now, my carrot seeds, and buy another batch. I'm just eating the strawberries that I get now. I got a half a dozen this morning, but I don't think I'm going to get enough to amount to anything, so I'm not bothering to save them up. I think I'm not going to let these mustard grow up next year, the ones that ends up getting seed on the ground, because most likely I will end up with more seed falling, because I want to get the beans to grow better, and the mustard is now overtopped the beans, so it's kind of restricting their growth. I'll get a harvest, but the mustard is restricting the growth somewhat. Morton early cucumbers. See that one growing right there. It's putting out female flowers like crazy. Seems like they're putting out more female flowers than male flowers. I think I'm going to get a lot of Morton earlies. Something else I'm going to have to control numbers of. They're starting to make me nervous, but this is why I don't mow all the meadow at once, you see. It likes clover, and normally you'll see him out in the meadow, and that's what he's eating, just sitting there eating the broadleaf weeds that are in the meadow. They don't normally go into the garden. These 3 Dill's Atlantic giant pumpkin plants, they're still growing wonderfully, especially at that one over there. And there's a male flower open there. And this is a female flower on the Dill's Atlantic giant that's in the garden bed. So I took the pollen from the one by the tire, and I hand pollinated this morning. July the 14th. I'm hoping for a massive pumpkin now. That would be just wonderful. This is a bed worth mentioning, and I wanted to mention this. It's one of the reasons why I was hoping to do a update video, because there's potato, there's lemon balm. I deliberately planted the butternut squash in here, and you look over the bed like this now, and it's like, well, it's plants that I want. I use all of them. So what do you do with it? You just got to treat it like a food forest. I'm going to have to tear out lemon balm and the other plants away from the butternut squash plants, and just let the stuff grow. It's like a chop and drop type thing, right? That you would do in a food forest. The potatoes are all flowering. That is one thing also worth mentioning. A lot of people here, they don't bother to plant their potatoes until like the middle of June, because, well, they get the same results anyway with respect to the tubers. If, however, you are wanting to develop a variety of potatoes, you'd need seed. In which case, when you plant them earlier, you're more likely to get them to flower earlier and to fruit. These zucchini, I think it's the yellow zucchini, I can't remember, they're flowering as well. So both zucchini varieties are flowering, but it's just male flowers yet. They haven't put out any female flowers. Parsley is coming right along with going to flower, and my understanding is now if I let that go to flower and seed, it will drop seed, and I'll have a bunch of plants growing up around the base of it next year. My garlic is coming right along, and the scapes have done their second twirl, so I'm going to harvest all these scapes today. I'll probably put this video clip in along with a clip on making garlic scape pesto, because I think I'm going to just turn them all into pesto and put it in the freezer for this year. The first flower for California poppy opened yesterday. I don't think this one is finished. It's just closed up because it's a dull, misty day. I think when the weather dries up again, it will open again. Now this is a puzzle. Of course, as you can see, this plant got totally, well, all the seed heads, it just attacks the seed heads, got totally decimated with the that caterpillar thing. That's the parsnip seed plant. This one that's in the outside bed, they got a lot of problems with it. Some came through, and that seed now, that's of course not mature yet, but that's maturing seed there. And as well as down here, we've got the flower head that has gone all pollinated and it's developing its seeds now. But the two down here got hardly touched with the caterpillar. So I don't know what's up with that. This is one of the volunteer carrot plants in the beets. And it's starting to develop a flower head. So it must have been partially grown last year. And now it's coming back for its second year. And the same thing goes for the one up on this end. Maybe I will be able to collect some seed from that. The sugar beets I've thinned out and transplanted some of them out to the empty spots. That's the ones that are still quite weak. Hopefully they take hold and strengthen up again. And I put some over here in this bed too, where the what's supposed to be pine berries are. I watered them this morning after I transplanted them, so, and it's cool weather. Hopefully they perk up. That's my little vlog for the middle of July, what I felt I needed to record. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.